bets out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Tuesday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us. A Tuesday evening that finds the Jaguars back at it. Miller Electric Center for another round of OTAs. We were down there. I had the opportunity earlier today to catch up with Jaguar linebacker Devin Lloyd. You will hear that conversation coming up in just a couple of minutes here on Hacker After Dark, a Tuesday night that finds us with Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals in the NBA. Of course, Indiana and New York, the Pacers, a 2-1 series lead. The home team is 0-3 in that series, but a huge game in the NBA Eastern Conference Finals tonight. It was a Tuesday also that provided absolutely terrific news for Florida Gator fans. As Alex Condon takes his name out of the NBA draft, he will be back on the Florida Gator roster alongside Thomas Houck, Ruben Chinyelu, Micah Hanlogden. So the entire front court for the defending national champions is back. Of course, they got a lot of new guys in the backcourt with Xavier Lee, Boogie Flan, among others. But clearly, Gator basketball should be considered, if not the best team in America, among the 5 best teams in America when the season comes back around. So we'll certainly spend some time on that as well. There is a ton to get into, and as always, we are glad you are spending part of your Tuesday evening with us. Guest lineup tonight looks like this. I mentioned Jaguar linebacker Devin Lloyd. That conversation comes up in about 15 minutes or so. Also, Jared Bailey of the Sporting News joins me tonight as we will talk Jaguars, AFC South, and more. And as I told Baloo and Hayes Carline earlier today here on 1010XL, if you were on social media yesterday or today, odds are you saw that video of Jaguar rookie Travis Hunter walking through a neighborhood here in Jacksonville, coming upon a young man that was in the midst of a football workout and going up to him, giving him a high five, dapping him up a little bit. Well, that video went viral. It's gotten millions of views, and the young man in that video is named Isaiah Johnson. He plays at Christ Church Academy, which is the same school that my son goes to, and we're going to have Isaiah on the program tonight to talk about what it was like to have Travis Hunter just walk up to him in the backyard and what his reaction was like, the inspirational words that Travis Hunter gave this young man from Christ Church Academy. So that conversation with Isaiah Johnson of the viral Travis Hunter video, that comes up towards the top of the 9 o'clock hour. As always, Jacksonville, we're glad you're with us to kick off another week here on Hacker After Dark. Every night on HAD, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night. And Dylan Denmark, let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No, because it is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
OTA number 4 for the Jacksonville Jaguars. It was our second opportunity as a media to be out there. I thought it was more crisp than last week. But again, last week was really their first time on the field as a unit. They've had a few practices under their belt now, so you would expect it to look crisper, and indeed it did. I'll say this, and I know we've talked about this. I was on with Carline during the Frangie show this afternoon. Couple of guys look noticeably different, but in a good way. It's like the weight distribution has changed. They just, quite frankly, look like they're in a little bit better shape this year than maybe they were a year ago. Trayvon Walker looks fantastic. I thought Devin Lloyd, the conversation I had with him, I thought Devin looks very good. I look at a guy like Tyler Lacey, who we don't talk a lot about. Tyler Lacey looks like he's put on some weight to play in the middle of that Jaguar defense. You figure it's going to be some combination of Eric Armstead, Mason Smith, Jordan Jefferson, Devon Hamilton, Tyler Lacey. So it's at this time of year when you haven't seen these guys in a few months that you can tell if their bodies have changed a little bit, and I think some of their bodies have indeed changed. My biggest takeaway today from OTAs, like it was last week, and like I would imagine it's going to be for the foreseeable future when the Jaguars have on the field organized team activities, is the competition. There's roughly 49 guys of the 90 on the roster sheet that were not here 9 months ago. We got a lot to figure out when it comes to this roster. Normally, when somebody comes up and asks me, hey, Hacker, who's 45 or who's 53 or whatever number you want to say, even in OTAs, I can pretty much tell you. It's just the way I'm wired. Not this year. Maybe I'm getting a little older. That might have something to do with it, but I think more so, it's just the amount of new guys on this roster that you got to learn what numbers they are, what positions they're playing, what roster spots they're battling for. That, to me, was the most prevailing thought I had today was, again, just the amount of newness here. Also, I think the coaches. Look, I don't think the coaching last year was spectacular. I'm not really breaking any news there. They were 4-13, and I didn't think the coaching was very good. It's a very short sample size, but I can tell you that the coaching that I've seen in the first couple of weeks of OTAs, they're getting their points across to the guys. They're speaking up when they need to speak up. They're voicing their opinion when they need to voice their opinion, which is nice because, in my opinion, we didn't always see that here last year. And then, of course, it was Travis Hunter. It was Brian Thomas Jr., De'Ami Brown. They might have a special trio at wide receiver. There is certainly potential to have a special trio at the wide receiver position. I really like Travis Hunter, obviously love BTJ, and I think De'Ami Brown, I'm going all in on De'Ami Brown after he signed that one-year deal. And again, I'm never a glass half full, drink the Kool-Aid person. I have the Jaguars going 9-8 in 2025, so I'm not beating down a Super Bowl drum or anything, but it's my job to tell you what I see out there. And what I see out there, I've liked through a couple of weeks of Jaguar OTAs. Speaking of Jaguar OTAs, head coach Liam Cohen met the media after practice today. I was down there. These cuts courtesy of our friends at Jaguars.com. And Liam Cohen started out basically by saying practice today was probably better than it was a week ago.
I thought, better than probably expected in that way in terms of bodies on the ground and just practicing cleaner. It was much cleaner than day one, let's just say, right? When you're just trying to come in and get it going again after a few days off. I thought it was definitely cleaner. Was it perfect? No, but I thought it was definitely better than the previous Monday, if you will.
The thoughts of Jaguar head coach Liam Cohen, I would agree with that. And I'll mention the word competition. Well, one of the main positions of competition is going to be the offensive line. 4 pro free agents, 2 in the draft. There is competition across the board on the offensive line, and to me, it's at numerous spots. I think potentially numerous starting jobs on the offensive line are up for grabs. Again, Liam Cohen, courtesy of Jaguars.com, was asked how the offensive line is performing so far in OTAs.
I do. Yeah, I think that from a communication standpoint, all 5 being on the same page, you can definitely see an intent behind what they're trying to do. I think Sean and Khalil and Trevor have done a really nice job in that room, and I think the players have caught on. I mean, in a lot of ways. It is extremely difficult to evaluate this time, specifically the fronts. But from a fundamental technique, communication, angles, understanding the scheme, if you will, and what we're trying to get accomplished on each play, our defense has thrown a ton at us from a blitz standpoint and just different looks. That is challenging, especially in day 4 of OTAs. So that'll only help us moving forward, and I think those guys have done a nice job so far.
Jaguar defensive coordinator Anthony Campanile also met the media today down at the Miller Electric Center. Our first time getting a chance to talk with him since OTAs. And I had the opportunity to ask Campanile after practice. You know, I thought about this when I was interviewing Devin Lloyd before Campanile came to the podium. You know, guys like Devin Lloyd, Trayvon Walker, Joshua Hines-Allen, Tyson Campbell, Foye Oluwakin, the guys that have been here, you know, for 4 years, they're now on their third defensive coordinator. We talk so much about the change in offensive staff. Well, the defense obviously has had just as much change. 3 coordinators in 4 years. I asked Campanile how tough that might be for some of the guys here.
Yeah, I would imagine it's challenging. I think the thing that I really try to focus on is, you know, our relationship with our players, you know, my relationship with them, trying to get them to be the best possible player they can be. And I can imagine, you know, that's hard. You know, a lot of transition, never easy. But my experience with those guys has been nothing but, I mean, they've been unbelievable. Just total pros. And they've been really, really hungry every day coming in to learn, obviously in the meeting room and out here on the field.
And finally, Liam Cohen, the head coach, said earlier on before Campanile took the podium that Travis Hunter did work with the defense on the field last Wednesday during one of the OTA sessions. Campanile was asked, all right, how did Travis Hunter look to you?
I think he's pretty good. Yeah, no, fired up to have him out there, and he did a very good job, you know, getting out there, and he's done a great job with Coach Milas and Coach Lascari, a couple of the other coaches on staff, just spending time, and he's doing extra every day, so I have a ton of respect for everything that he's done to this point.
Again, early in the process, but chalk me up as an Anthony Campanile fan as well. I just knew I was going to like this guy. I remember him from Hard Knocks with the Miami Dolphins. I know in talking to people in Green Bay, they raved about what he did with the linebackers up there. He's a young, energetic 42-year-old. And again, like I said earlier, look, Ryan Nielsen might as well have been Mr. Rogers, all right? He wasn't gonna get on anybody, and I think that kind of showed in some of the performances last year. It's May 27th. I can assure you, if a defensive player is not doing what they're supposed to be doing, Anthony Campanile was letting them know about it, all right? And in some choice words, let's just say that. But that's what I want out of a defensive coordinator. That's what I want out of a guy. Ruffle some feathers a little bit, you know, shake some cages a little bit. The bottom line is this defense underperformed in a massive, massive way last year. Guys need to be rattled a little bit. And I think Anthony Campanile is doing a good job pressing whatever buttons he needs to, because of the defense, at least the 2 times that we've been out there as a media, has looked very good so far. Speaking of the defense, one of the interesting question marks to me is Devin Lloyd. Devin Lloyd, coming into his 4th year here in Jacksonville, did not get his 5th-year option picked up by the team, which was certainly interesting. I asked Devin about that. You'll hear his thoughts. I asked him if there was a motivation because of that. You will hear his thoughts on that. We talked about Travis Hunter. We talked about the new staff and a lot of guys on the roster that are here for the first time. Jaguar fans, I think you're really going to enjoy my conversation with linebacker Devin Lloyd from earlier today down at the Miller Electric Center, and that conversation comes up next. It is a Tuesday evening here in Jacksonville, Florida, and we're glad you're with us. Hacker After Dark till 10 o'clock right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
Some call him a media mogul.
I believe it to be a terrific performance by a very gifted actor.
We call him
I am bad to the core now.
Dan Hicken. Mornings on 1010XL.
Baloo here for Smoonez Vision. Why Smoonez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smoonez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smoonez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smoonez is fellowship trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmoonezVision.com today. Here you can see.
With the first pick in the 2025 draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Duck Duck Rooter, the #1 plumbing, septic, and air conditioning contractor in Florida.
Congratulations, Duck Duck Rooter. So tell us, how does it feel to be picked #1? DuckDuck Rooter is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When you need help with any plumbing, septic, or AC issue, just give us a call and relax. We'll send one of our first-round draft picks to tackle your problems today. DuckDuckRooter.com. That's DuckDuckRooter.com.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, Director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick. We're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year, and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by November 6th.
Hey, Hicken here, and you know I'm going to talk about skin. Yeah, it's hot outside, folks. The oven is on. Temps are in the 90s, and it's only getting hotter. I love the summer, but my skin doesn't. I do my best with dry-fit shirts, big floppy hats, plenty of water. My secret weapon, though, the screen. Sunscreen. I use it regularly. Maybe you should as well. Look, I've also been seeing docs at Beaches Dermatology for years, and my skin thanks me for it. I'm telling you, it could save your life. Book your appointment today at beachesdermatology.com.
The judge swings the gavel and I pound the hammer. I'm not judging, just hammering. Hammer Time with Hayes Carlyon, weekdays on The Frangie Show.
Hammer Time with Hayes, driven by Southside Kia on 1010XL.
It's not too late for a deep spring cleaning on your home. Give my friends at Zero Res a call. Mayhem. 3-room special start at $149, plus the 4th room is free. Visit ZeroResJacksonville.com and tell them 1010XL sent you.
Zero Res.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm that has experience and capabilities to handle any legal issue a business is confronted with. Learn more about what they can do for you at jimersonfirm.com.
AA Automotive helps keep your vehicle in dependable and safe condition. Call Sam, Harry, or Joe, and they'll check your brakes, tires, fluids, electric, and motor, so your ride runs smooth on the road. That's AA Automotive on Richard Street.
Interested in a unique date night? Gibby here. I took my wife Nikki to Wick a Candle Bar. She made her own custom candle right there in the store. Shop local at Wick a Candle Bar. Locations in San Marco and Jax Beach.
You'll always feel good when you send someone a Kuhn Flowers floral or plant arrangement. This is Max Fink with 1010XL, and no matter what the reason, Kuhn Flowers has always come through for me. Order online at kuhnflowers.com.
Hey guys, Taylor Doll here from Helmets and Heels, inviting you to join us live at the brand new Kia on Atlantic this Friday. From noon to 2, we're talking sports, cars, and a boatload of prizes. The first person to arrive in their own Kia during the live show wins a free set of tires. You could score club seats to a Jaguars game with a parking pass, or a pair of tickets to see Live and Collective Soul at Daly's Place. Plus, giving away 2 free oil changes and 2 alignments. So join Helmets and Heels this Friday, noon to 2 at the new Kia on Atlantic.
With 50 years of fabrication expertise and towing products, the family at Cannons of Jacksonville can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
Need cash? Beaches Jewelry and Pawn has cash, and they're ready to buy guitars, surfboards, jewelry, firearms, tools, and especially gold. And gold market prices are at a record high. Get cash on the spot at Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
Ackerman Urology has 4 convenient locations, providing advanced urological care to improve men's health and sexual vitality. Don't suffer through prostate, bladder, or kidney issues. Visit AckermanUrology.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. Glad you're with us. 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Jaguar OTA number 4 earlier today down at the Miller Electric Center. I had the opportunity after practice to catch up with a guy entering year number 4 as a Jacksonville Jaguar, Devin Lloyd. Will it be his final year here in Jacksonville? Certainly one of the bigger stories this offseason. The Jaguars picked up the 5th-year option for Trayvon Walker. They did not pick up the 5th-year option for Devin Lloyd. What did that mean to Devin? What are his thoughts on that? We hit that topic and many more. Here's my conversation earlier today with Jaguar linebacker Devin Lloyd.
All right, Jaguar linebacker Devin Lloyd with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville as the Jaguars wrap up OTAs at the Miller Electric Center. Devin, how things go out there today?
It was good. First day back, long weekend. Everybody was slowly getting back into it, but it was pretty good today. Pretty solid day.
A guy like you that's been here going into year number 4, a lot of change on this year's roster, coaching staff, general manager, just the number of new players here. What has it been like for you, the amount of change in this roster?
Definitely a lot of change, a lot of new guys, obviously coaches as well. So just getting used to everybody, everybody learning how we communicate, just understanding more about each other. Obviously on the field, just learning each other, but it's been a good process so far.
Your third defensive coordinator in 4 years. How challenging is that for a guy like you that's been here for 4 years now?
I mean, it's obviously not ideal, but it's always fun to see different coordinators' perspective on the game and how they see attacking offenses. And everything's been good so far. I like the scheme we're running this year, so it's been fun. Obviously, like I said, not ideal, but I love ball and I love learning about ball. So,
what do you like about Anthony Campanile to this point?
Just, I just like the way he sees the game. It helps. He's a former linebacker too. I really like the way he sees the game, and I think it's going to be, an aggressive type defense, but he has answers to pretty much everything the offense throws. He's very intellectual when it comes to football IQ, and so definitely a really smart guy.
Competing against this offense, obviously no pads, but we see Travis Hunter, BTJ, De'Ami Brown, a new addition. What is it like competing against these guys every day?
Speed, athleticism, guys, high football IQ, good energy, just good competition.
Big year for you, year number 4. We know about the 5th-year option. What was your reaction to that? Obviously, it was a big story with the fan base.
Yeah, it's the way the business goes. Honestly, I'm just focused on being the best I can be for this team this year. That's was where my mindset's at.
Added motivation, knowing it's a contract year for you now?
I mean, yeah, obviously. You would... hope that they would pick that up, see you as a guy that's worth that. But at the end of the day, like I said, I understand the business part of it. And so, no feelings hurt, no love lost. I'm just here to be the best I can be for my team.
Final moments with Jaguar linebacker Devin Lloyd. I think I'm contractually obligated to ask you about Travis Hunter. What have you seen from the rookie from Colorado?
Yeah, like I said, athletic, a guy with really good body control. You can tell he's got a good feel for the game already coming in. Just, not even really seeing him a whole lot on defense. I'm seeing him primarily, I'm talking like offense. Just a playmaker, really. He's a guy you can tell that loves ball, and he's a good teammate, too.
You used to be the young guy out here. Now you're one of the kind of the veterans. Do you get the leadership presence now coming into year number 4?
Yeah, for sure. And with all the new guys, you just try to bring them along as fast as possible, help them as much as you can. And obviously, going into year 4, seeing a good amount of ball. So, I'm always here to help anybody whenever they need it.
Final question, going back to your roots, number 0. What was the change like? Are you excited to go back to the college number?
Absolutely. It was available. Didn't have to pay anything this year, so I snagged on that quick. I had kind of asked for it in the past, but I didn't pull the trigger. But it was available, and definitely, glad I had the opportunity to get back in it. And it's just nice, being back in my old number where, I had a lot of good ball on tape.
Devin, you're always great to us. Really appreciate the time.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome, buddy. Thank you, man.
Appreciate you.
There you go, Devin Lloyd with us here on Hacker After Dark. Thank you to the Jaguars PR staff for putting that together. John and Dylan and Emily and Amanda and everybody. And thank you to Devin Lloyd. It was really hot out there. All right, and they were just on the field for 2+ hours. He literally comes right off the practice field, right over to do the interview, and again, something that he doesn't necessarily have to do. So we certainly appreciate Devin Lloyd for doing that. And that's the one thing I'll say about Devin Lloyd. Look, there's a playing side to this that I'll get to in a moment. The guy, Devin Lloyd, is fantastic. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of really good guys when it comes to interacting with the media in the Jaguar locker room. To me, Devin Lloyd is at one of the top of the list because it doesn't matter how awful they've been or the success going on. You go up to him on a Wednesday or a Thursday during the regular season in the locker room, and he's always willing to talk. He never, runs away or whatever. I mean, that means something, because obviously we're asking questions the fans want answers to. And I think Devin's a guy that recognizes that, and he's always been great with us, and we certainly appreciate that. And the 5th-year option question was something that had to be asked, and I think he answered it, and he knew it was coming, obviously. It's a business. That's what it is. And, the new staff got here. It's not to say they don't like what they see in Devin Lloyd, but obviously they chose, at least for now, to not extend him past this year. Now he's scheduled to become an unrestricted free agent in March. And look, I think that could be definitely a motivating factor for Devin Lloyd. I've said this for a while now. I remember talking to guys in Green Bay last year. Anthony Campanile did wonders with Quay Walker, the former Bulldog up in Green Bay. Some Packer folks I talked to did not like the start of his career up there. He gets 1 year with Campanile as his linebacker coach, and Quay Walker had an absolutely terrific 2024. You hope something like that can happen with Devin Lloyd here in Jacksonville. And you look at that linebacker room, you think, okay, well, Foye Oluokun's definitely here. Ventrell Miller's definitely here. I think Devin Lloyd is definitely here. That's 3. I don't think Muma's going anywhere. That's 4. They drafted Kaiser out of Notre Dame. That's 5. Then there'll start to be some conversations about guys. Linebackers are getting after it, though. The one thing I will say, there's 90 guys that are out there. And again, if you don't count like the outside guys, if you don't count the edge guys as linebackers, if you're just talking about the true linebacker position, I think there's only 7 or 8 true linebackers on the 90. So they're going to have to cut a couple of guys, but you kind of know who your guys are going to be at linebacker. It's going to be hard for anybody to break through Oluokun, Miller, Lloyd, Muma, Kaiser. They may keep one more, maybe. But to me, a lot of the linebacker position is already set in stone. Denmark, let me bring you in. Hope you had a great Memorial Day weekend. I mean, what's your thought on Devin Lloyd? I like him as a player. I think that he has a lot to prove. And just talking to him for 5 minutes today, I think there is a motivation factor for him about not getting that 5th-year option.
Yeah, obviously with, him, ETN, and anybody that's in a contract year, even if, it's not a 5th-year option per se, usually you're going to see the best out of them. And, we'll see what that entails. Obviously, I'm not out there like you are. But I know you and Hayes were talking about, the sacks from linebackers, and we don't have that on this team. As a Jaguar, at least from Foye, him, and the others that are the linebackers on this team. I wonder if, there's something new that we're going to see from Devin Lloyd that we haven't seen in years past. Time will tell, but, it looks like, linebackers are a lot like running backs. They're going to be here for just a couple of years, and then you're going to draft one and find somebody to replace them.
Yeah, I thought Carline brought up a good point. What Denmark's talking about is during the Frangie show today, Hayes was talking about the lack of sacks at the linebacker position. And I wonder if that's because they don't have the personnel to be able to get to the quarterback, or they haven't been asked to get to the quarterback. Devin Lloyd could get to the quarterback in college. I don't think he's really been given that much of an opportunity to get to the quarterback here. I've said for a long time, I don't know why you could not have gotten Devin Lloyd on the outside a little bit more when you lost Arden Key, and at least on 3rd down passing situations, you try to get Devin Lloyd in that 3rd edge rush position. Now, I know they signed Emmanuel Ogbah now, so hopefully that's been remedied, but Devin Lloyd looks quick out there. He looks fast. His body looks, quite frankly, better than it did a year ago. And again, that's something you can say about a number of guys. There's a new strength program here in Jacksonville, obviously a new coaching staff with a new vision. But I'm pretty high on Devin Lloyd coming into 2025. And whether it's here in Jacksonville or not, we've seen time and time again that guys in contract years perform, right? Obviously, because a big payday is waiting for them if they perform. Now, that's what we said about Andre Cisco last year, and that went the opposite way. Cisco had his worst year as a pro, is gone now, and had to sign a 1-year deal with the New York Jets. So I don't think that's the way it's going to go for Devin Lloyd. My thought is Devin Lloyd will have a better year than Cisco. My thought is Devin Lloyd will perform well in this Anthony Campanile defense. As of now, I would tend to guess that this is probably his final year here in Jacksonville, but I thought Denmark, you brought up a good point too, whether it's Devin Lloyd, Chad Muma, Travis Etienne, Walker Little. I mean, there's a lot of guys that are, I guess you would call them Trent Baalke guys that we're pretty sure are going to be here in 2025, but their futures past that are very much up in the air for 2026 and beyond. Devin Lloyd is firmly on that list, but again, I like what I've seen so far. I appreciate Devin taking time out for us, and I'm certainly rooting for him here in the 2025 season. Coming up next, my buddy Jared Bailey of the Sporting News. Let's talk Jaguars. Let's talk Travis Hunter. Let's also look around the division a little bit. Let's look at Indy. Let's look at Tennessee. Let's look at Houston as OTAs begin all across the National Football League. So Jared Bailey of the Sporting News coming up. And at the top of the 9 o'clock hour, the Travis Hunter viral video from yesterday, going to meet and greet a young man that he saw doing football workouts in his backyard. That young man is named Isaiah Johnson. He plays at Christ Church Academy here in town. Isaiah's going to join me at 9 o'clock to talk about that interaction with Travis Hunter yesterday, what he and Travis talked about, how it all went down. Jaguar fans, I think you'll enjoy that conversation with Isaiah Johnson of Christ Church Academy. That comes up in about 30 minutes. As we roll on till 10 o'clock on a Tuesday night here in Jacksonville, Florida, we're glad you're with us right here on Hacker After Dark.
Some things just never get old.
Beautiful day for baseball.
Experience the most play-by-play sports on 1010XL.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Bueller, stay cooler with Bueller.
Jason, I don't see how a new air conditioner is going to work out for me.
Well, you like air conditioning, right?
Oh, yeah, totally. But a new air conditioner could be expensive.
Well, not if you...
I mean, to save up the money, I probably have to give up my extra hot skim latte every morning. Now I fall asleep during a staff meeting, get volunteered for the summer picnic committee, and end up sitting in the dunk tank all afternoon getting water up my nose.
Okay, look at it this way. Put on these sunglasses. Whoa. Bueller Air and Plumbing puts in a new AC. We hook you up with affordable financing, and you stay cool and comfortable for just $149 a month. Cool?
Cool. I see it now.
Life can be hard on your budget. If you suffer through the heat because of a broken AC you could totally afford to replace, you could visit.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
This is your Mad Dad's Update with Chapter President Donald Ford. In our effort to curb crime, drugs, and violence during the summer months, we are offering Friday Night Lights. It has already started and will be going until school starts back. It is every Friday night from 6:30 to 9:30 at the Blacktop, 5732 Normandy Boulevard, and behind the Potter's House Christian Academy. We manage 3 basketball courts. You are not running on the cement. We have covering on each court. The Lakers, the Magic, and the Heat. Ages 15 to 40 years old. This will give them something to do other than selling drugs and getting into trouble. We have monitors there giving leadership. We have to wake up, stand up, and speak up. Hit me on Facebook and tell me what you think. Or MattDadJacksonville.com.
The best value for golf in Jacksonville remains Cimarron. Totally reestablished with new tee boxes, improved fairways and greens. Also a brand new restaurant with indoor and outdoor settings and live music. Join the Wild One loyalty program online at Cimarron Golf. When's the last time you played Cimarron? Cimarron Golf Club on 210, the Wild One.
Jacksonville's building a playoff team in team.
All right, we're going to play to win.
Follow 1010XL's coverage of organized team activities, backed by Heroes Lawn Care and Hurricane Grill and Wings. Tune up the off-season with AA Automotive and 1010XL.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. By now, everyone has heard about saving money on their energy bills. There are all sorts of things you can do to cut energy costs, but most people don't think about their windows.
But Window World knows that the biggest energy loss in almost every home is the windows. There is more energy loss from old builder-grade windows than just about anything else in your home.
You can upgrade your heating and air, your appliances. That's good too. But before you do all that, upgrade your windows to Window World's energy-efficient windows.
Window World's windows are easy to clean, energy efficient, and have the best guarantee in the business.
Window World's slogan is simply the best for less, and we mean it. You get great American-made windows, and you get to keep more of your money when you buy from Window World. Need any more reasons to buy your windows from Window World? Call them today and set up your free in-home estimate, or go online to windowworldneflorida.com.
Window World, simply the best for less.
Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors. This summer, get ready to rock like never before. The Jacksonville Rock Orchestra brings the thunder with an electrifying night of Led Zeppelin like you've never heard it. Live at the Florida Theater, June 4th. Kashmir, Whole Lotta Love, and Stairway to Heaven reimagined with the full power of a rock orchestra. Led Zeppelin, orchestra style, only in Jacksonville. Get your tickets before they're gone at floridatheater.com.
It's Mike Dempsey, and now's the time to get your roof hurricane ready with Apex Roofing and Contracting of Jacks Beach. Look, our rainy season is no joke, and if your roof's got damage, leaks, or it's just plain worn out, don't wait. Apex is local, dependable, and will show up on time using only premium materials with ironclad warranties. No shortcuts, no stress, just quality work you can trust. Skip the storm season scramble. Reach for the peak with Apex Roofing and Contracting in Jacks Beach or visit apexroofingfl.com.
Hi, folks. It's Frank Frangie. Look, when it comes to glass needs around the home, there's one name I trust, Lee and Kate's Glass. Those beautiful custom glass shower enclosures, maybe a new mirror, a glass tabletop. They can even replace your foggy or cracked glass without having to replace the whole window. Lee and Kate's is local. They're family-owned. They've been a part of our community since 1926. Boy, they've taken care of me, including our brand new offices at Walk-Off Charities. They did a great job. I promise they'll do the same for you. Visit leeandkatesglass.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, your home for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we are glad you are with us. Jaguars back out on the field for OTAs. We're inside of a month now until mandatory veteran minicamp, and we are 2 months away from training camp here in the city of Jacksonville. Jared Bailey of the Sporting News, he's one of our favorites to talk NFL with, and Jared's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Jared, it's been a little while, man. How are you?
I'm good. Just kind of getting through the off season, and I think we're kind of on the other side of the halfway point now. So I think at this point it'll start coming quicker, and OTAs are kind of one of those trademark points of the off season to get us back on the field.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I was out there earlier today for Jaguar OTAs, and let's begin with Travis Hunter. Jarrett, you and I haven't spoke since the draft. Your thoughts on what the Jaguars did over a month ago now in taking Travis Hunter?
I think that in terms of, the talent that Hunter has, it was well documented throughout the draft process that everybody thought that he could be a generational guy. I don't know if I fall in that category of thinking he's going to be that good. And I think that what Jacksonville gave up for him was a little bit lofty. But if he turns out to be great, then, nobody's going to remember any of that. But, I think that there is a little bit more pressure on them and Travis to an extent to be that good because, anytime you trade a future first round pick for a guy, there's some heavy expectations on him. But if he lives up to the hype, then nobody's going to care what they gave up for him. And, if he can help Trevor Lawrence and if he can, chip in some snaps on defense as well, then nobody's going to care. So if the production matches what the hype was, then absolutely home run job by James Gladstone. If he fails to meet some expectations, then is a little bit disappointing. And, we fast forward ahead and the Browns are able to, use that pick to get somebody that they really like next year who turns out to be a star, then, we might look at this a little bit differently. But his play on the field will dictate how good of a trade this was.
No, I agree. And like I said on my show when it happened, if that pick next year is in the top 12, I think Cleveland obviously wins the trade. If it's anywhere from like 13 to 19, it's probably a wash. And if it's 20 or higher, I think Jacksonville probably wins the trade. And that's what Jacksonville's banking on. In a bad AFC South, they think they can turn it around and compete in that division pretty quick. And if they win the division, that pick's 25 or worse next year. So we'll have to wait and see, obviously. The idea of Travis Hunter on one side and Brian Thomas Jr. on the other with Trevor Lawrence, and I know you've been one of the national guys that has defended Trevor Lawrence quite a bit. How do you think that dynamic will work out here in Jacksonville?
I think it all depends on if Trevor can stay healthy. The last 2 years he's been banged up at one point or the other. But the last time that he was fully healthy, they, went to the playoffs, won a playoff game, and then took Kansas City to the brink in Arrowhead. So as long as Trevor can stay healthy, I believe in them, and I believe in Liam Cohen, where we saw what he did with Baker Mayfield last year in Tampa Bay. So, if he can find his way as a head coach and, be more of a CEO type head coach that, still worries about the offense and whatnot, but isn't, only spending time in the quarterback room and everybody can, fall in line and get behind what Cohen's preaching, then I think that they have a real shot. Because like I said, we saw what he did for Baker Mayfield, and we've seen what Trevor can do when there is a head coach that seems to be, getting the players behind him, has a good message, and is able to do good things with the offense. The wheels just kind of fell off very quickly with Doug Peterson. If Liam Cohen can establish himself as a worthy head coach and also do good things with the offense, I like their chances of being at least a competitive team that can be in the wild card hunt. But yeah, I'm, loudly a Trevor Lawrence guy, as long as he stays healthy. And if the offense is, can translate from what Cohen did in Tampa Bay with Baker Mayfield and the weapons they have there to Trevor Lawrence and what they have at hand in Jacksonville, then I think that he'll be able to, both Cohen and Lawrence will find some success. And, if that happens, then I think that Jacksonville can make a little noise.
Jared Bailey of the Sporting News with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Jared, you mentioned the offensive line, keeping Trevor healthy. They brought in 6 new offensive linemen, which is crazy, right? 4 in free agency, drafted 2 guys. In fact, the 90-man roster sheet that we get from the Jaguar PR staff, by my count, 49 of the 90 that are here for OTAs were not here for training camp 2024. I mean, the turnover on this roster has been massive. James Gladstone's been very, very busy in the last 90 days. What do you make of what he's done here with the overall roster?
Yeah, let's say that, they're bringing Robert Hainsey and Patrick McCarry in free agency to put on the interior, which I think are good moves. They let Brendan Scherf walk. I wouldn't be totally surprised to see if he would end up there if somebody got injured. But it's going to fall on Ken Walker-Little, protect Trevor's left side, and what's Anton Harrison going to look like, the former first-round pick out of 2023. But I think the interior moves were good. They struggled running the ball last year, so I think getting guys like McCarry, who's a good starting guard, not a great one, but they don't need great. I think they just need suitable at that position. And then Hainsey coming over from Tampa Bay to kind of be that anchor in the middle. So I like the moves that they made. It was clearly an effort to get better. And I think that, they drafted, it was a Wyatt Millam that they took.
Yeah, out of West Virginia, yep.
Yeah, so, they clearly had an agenda of, all right, we need to get better specifically on the interior portion of our offensive line. So I think getting a healthy balance of a couple of veterans, bringing a rookie as well, there's clearly a thought process behind that and proof of concept. So I think that James Gladstone, in terms of, just him, he has a point to prove. He's the youngest GM in the NFL, and he came out swinging this offseason. So I applaud him for that. Again, it's just going to come down to, if these moves work out or not. And if they do, then, we could be looking at a guy who, is climbing the ranks of GMs around the league. And for Jaguars fans' sake, I hope that happens. And as a Trevor Lawrence guy, I hope it happens. And like I said, there's clearly been a proof of concept for what they want to do, and that's make Trevor Lawrence more comfortable, get him more weapons, which in today's NFL, if you have a good quarterback, then you've done the hard part. You found him, and they know that they have the quarterback. They paid him all that money for a reason. So now it's just about keeping him upright and getting him weapons to, for him to spread the ball out to. And, so far this offseason, they've done a really good job of at least trying that. We're going to see how it turns out on the field in 2025.
Jared, I want to end with some thoughts on the division as a whole. Final Jaguar-related topic. If you look on the defensive side, they were terrible last year, which is why Ryan Nielsen was only here for 1 year. Now, the Jaguars went out and got Jordan Lewis, right? They got Eric Murray, Emmanuel Ogbah. They drafted guys like Caleb Ransaw and Jack Kaiser. They did do some things on defense, but I think by and large, the new regime that's come in here said, all right, they thought it was more the scheme than the players. I mean, the interior D-line is going to be basically the same, although Eric Armstead's now actually going to be playing where he should have been playing last year. But it's going to be Mason Smith, Devon Hamilton, Jordan Jefferson, obviously Trayvon and Hines Allen. Do you agree with that it might have been more a coaching issue than a player issue on the Jaguar defense last year?
That seems to be what they think. Like you said, schematically was just not the right fit. So, I think moving Eric Armstead more inside will be good. But they have a really good duo of pass rushers with Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker. The secondary is the thing that I'm going to be keeping my closest eye on with them, because last year when you look at teams who, in terms of passing against Jacksonville, Tyson Campbell was great, but they knew that, teams did, and they would just pass to the opposite side of the field. And Jacksonville didn't really have anybody who was capable of, being a good number 2 corner last year. So I think bringing in Jordan Lewis was good. We're going to see if Jerry and Jones can step up and be that number 2 guy. But having Jordan Lewis as the nickel guy will certainly help in a lot of ways. And then, stealing Eric Murray from, division rival Houston will be good as well. Caleb Ransaw, that's a fun draft pick in the secondary for them. So, they've added a bunch of new bodies to that portion of their defense, and I think that, they were fully aware that their pass defense was atrocious last year. But also, I love the pick of Jack Kaiser. The Jaguars have tried a lot of different hands at linebacker over the past few years, but they also drafted Jalen McLeod in the 6th round. So they went heavy linebacker on day 3. We'll see if any of these guys can contribute on that side of the ball. More than likely, McLeod, I would assume, would be, more of a special teamer to start out. But Jack Kaiser, I think, has, a chance to be, a guy who gets legit snaps. So I think it could just be they're looking at it as, all right, it was a scheme thing. We're going to move some stuff around, get back to, more of a 4-3 look, and go from there. And if it is, then, kudos to them. They figured it out, and hopefully the defense will be better. I think it will be better just by default, because last year, like I said, especially in the secondary, they just were really bad. But they have, it's not that they don't have any sort of talent on the defense. They've got guys. And I think schematically under Ryan Nielsen, those things just didn't align. So I think, like I said, I think they'll be better by default. How much better, time will tell.
Final moments, Jared Bailey of the Sporting News. Jared, the AFC South, I'm not breaking any news here, probably the worst division in football. If it's not, it's the second worst to the NFC South. Those are the two that are just very bad, quite frankly. Tennessee, rebuilding, kind of with Cam Ward, although they did spend some money in free agency. Indianapolis has a good roster. They just have serious questions at quarterback, which last time I checked is pretty important. And Houston replaced Laramie Tunsil with Cam Robinson, which is laughable here to us here in Jacksonville. What do you make of the South as we enter the month of June?
I did my game-by-game predictions the day of the schedule release, which I do every year, and then I do another one right before the season starts. So, I have Jacksonville going 9-8 right now. I didn't want to take too big a bite of that apple because last year I did, and it kind of bit me in the butt. I think that they'll be at least competitive. I'm still taking the Texans to win the division, even with the offensive line question marks that they have. They have a top 5 defense in football. They have a really good head coach in D'Amico Ryans, and they got a really good quarterback in C.J. Stroud. So with those 3 things, I don't see them losing the division. I have Jacksonville going, like I said, 9-8, finishing second. Tennessee, I don't think they're going to be horrible, but if they can win 6 games this year, I think that's a really big success for Cam Ward and Brian Callahan, just to kind of get this, new era going. Obviously, it's Callahan's second year, but, he didn't have his guy last year. It was a mixture of Will Levis and Mason Rudolph. Now he gets the quarterback that he wants. They can try really, rebooting this thing. Like you said, they spent money on left tackle Dan Moore, Kevin Zeitler at guard. They brought in Tyler Lockett and Elic Amanor to complement Calvin Ridley. So, I mean, that's an offense that you can say is at least an NFL offense. Defensively, they still have question marks of their own, especially in the secondary. And then when it comes to Indy, man, like I said that they would win 5 games, and that's probably too low. But I just can't get behind a quarterback room of Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones. I think that Shane Steichen's a good coach. I think that Lou Anarumo is a really good defensive coordinator, and that was a big steal for them. And I think Cincinnati, I understand that they need kind of a scapegoat to let go of. I personally would have let go of Zach Taylor instead of Lou Anarumo, but that's a whole different story. So when I do that exercise again, I think I'll probably give the Colts at least 1 or 2 more wins, but I just can't buy into that team unless they have a quarterback. I was talking to Matt Verderame of Sports Illustrated, and he posed the idea that maybe they're the team that trades for Kirk Cousins. And you know what? That's not a horrible idea. If you said that Kirk Cousins was the quarterback of the Colts with that roster, you could probably talk me into, an 8-9 win team. But right now, that's not the case. So I think Jacksonville's going to be competitive. I'm not going to sit here and say right now that they're going to be a playoff team, but depending on what we see from here up until, late August, maybe that can change. But like I said, I think that they'll be in the wild card hunt. And if they can win 9 games this year, I think that that's a big win for them, especially if they can win 10 and win the division and surprise everybody again, then hey, even better. So we'll see. But I'm on the more optimistic side of Jacksonville.
Great minds think alike, Jared. I had him 9-8 as well. Final thought. Last February, it was Philadelphia and Kansas City in the Super Bowl. As we enter the month of June, are those still the 2 favorites in their respective conferences?
I don't know. I think that Philadelphia, I think they're getting a wee bit too much love. I think the Rams are going to be the team to beat in the NFC West. I mean, they got better offensively. They were within just a couple plays of beating Philadelphia in Philadelphia last year. And when you add Devontae Adams to that mix, I would assume they're going to try to bring back Jalen Ramsey in a trade. That seems to be where all the talk is right now. So I think that they're going to be better than what they were last year. So that's the team that I like in the NFC. Kansas City's always going to be that until they're proven, until proven otherwise. They're always there. Buffalo's going to be the team that is, the top candidate to upset them in the playoffs. They've come close so many times that you feel like eventually there's going to be that, Brady Manning thing in 2006 where the Colts finally beat New England. And I firmly believe that will happen. It's just a matter of I can't bet on it to happen until it does happen. So, I'm very loudly a Josh Allen guy. Everybody who follows me knows that. I would love nothing more than to see them get to a Super Bowl. So we'll see. But until, proven otherwise, Kansas City is going to be that team to watch. If their offensive line is, good to average, then I think they're going to be right back in the AFC Championship game and potentially back in the Super Bowl. But if the left side of the line struggles, then we could see Kansas City finally not make the Super Bowl. So I think that's going to be the biggest determining factor when it comes to that.
Jared, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville, man, about the sporting news and what you have coming out on the website in the coming days and weeks.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter at Jay Bailey NFL, if I could talk this morning. So follow me on Twitter at JBaileyNFL for all the work at the sporting news, all the lists at USA Today Sports Media Group. But yeah, if you want to know what's going on and whatnot, follow me on Twitter at JBaileyNFL to get everything.
Jarrett, really appreciate it, man. Know you're busy. Thank you as always, and we'll talk again soon.
Not a problem, man. Take care.
Riding home with a Jaguars play-by-play voice and the Jags beat reporter.
I don't think I want to go.
What do you mean you don't want to go?
Frank Frangie and Hayes Carline are on the Frangie Show.
Prepped, pumped, ready to rock?
Afternoons on 1010XL.
And while you're at it, fill it up with gas, okay?
Hacker here, taking you back exactly 1 year this week. I was only 9 weeks into Awaken 180 and had already dropped 54 pounds. Seriously, that's like shedding a first grader in just over 2 months. That's wild, right? Fast forward to today, 2 months into my maintenance, and I'm still down over 115 pounds. Not a pound put back on. It's like Awaken 180 gave my weight a permanent eviction notice. Now listen up. We all want to have goals, but sometimes they seem to be far-fetched. This one won't be. Dropping 40 pounds by the 4th with Awaken 180. It's doable when you have a proven program with an excellent coach by your side. Weekly weight loss, enjoying the ride, and reaching your goal. We all did it. No reason you can't. Set your goal, make the call, and reach 40 by the 4th with the solution for weight loss. Online at awaken180weightloss.com or call 844-346-1800.
For a lot of us, saving up a down payment can be the biggest barrier to buying a home. So Rocket Mortgage is lowering down payments to 1% for eligible home buyers with One Plus. Because everyone deserves their shot at the American dream. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to get a head start on your starter home.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
The 2025 season schedule has dropped, and single-game tickets are on sale now. Be at the bank to watch Travis Hunter, Trevor Lawrence, and the Jaguars take on the biggest names in the NFL. Don't miss your favorite matchup and secure your tickets now by visiting jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. See you this fall, Jags fans.
Yes, sir. That's the best decision. I love it.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
PRP treatment is kind of the thing these days, and in many cases, it eliminates the need for surgery. This is Sheridan Tootin, and my experience with PRP from Southeast Orthopedic Specialist has been nothing short of great. I'm really feeling much better now. Ask your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist doctor about PRP treatment.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where athletes are treated like pros.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Lucas Tree Service is a certified arborist and a local family-owned business with over 45 years of experience. They specialize in tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding for both residential and commercial properties. Get prepared for storm season and receive top-notch customer service from Lucas Tree Service, 904-241-3533. Online at lucastreeservice.com.
Jacksonville, you know a good defense wins games, and a good fence protects your home. Frank Frangie here. Coil Fencing has been around the block since 1927. Literally, they've probably fenced it too. From tough chain link to sleek aluminum fences your HOA will love, Coil is the name to trust. Nearly a century strong and still standing tall. Call Coil today. You can trust them. Call 904-356-4821 or visit coiljacks.com. That's COYLE Jacks.com.
Baseball is back. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball at the newly renovated 5-Star Ballpark is your home for affordable family fun. Tickets start at just $5. Fireworks after every Friday home game and kids round the bases after Sunday games. Log on to jackshrimp.com for tickets and details. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball, affordable family fun.
Hey Jacksonville, it's Dan Hicken with a game changer. I've tested the field, and Checkmate Coatings is my new go-to for durable, jaw-dropping floor coatings. Better play, better results.
I'm Brendan from Checkmate Coatings. Our precision coatings make your floors the MVP of any space.
Slam dunk your floors at checkmatecoatings.com. Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Checkmate Coatings, your
simple way to boost your company's image without a big renovation? A fresh paint job in your brand's colors can increase recognition up to 80%. At Performance Painting, we help companies stand out with clean, on-brand finishes that impress clients and energize employees. From color consultations to low-odor coatings that won't disrupt operations, we've got you covered. Visit performance-painting.com to schedule a friendly estimate. Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Halftime, Hacker After Dark. 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. We will take you up till 10 o'clock as we do every night here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. Indiana 54-52 over New York. 4.5 to go in the second quarter. A very back and forth game. Indiana leads the series 2-1. An absolutely pivotal game 4 in the Eastern Conference Finals. We will keep you updated, but right now the Pacers up a bucket, 54-52, about 4.5 to go in the first half. So if you were on social media yesterday or today and you're a Jaguar fan, odds are you saw the video of Travis Hunter walking through a Jacksonville neighborhood, coming across a young athlete that was basically practicing football drills in his backyard. Travis saw him, went over to acknowledge him. They had a nice interaction, and that video absolutely blew up. The young man in that video with Travis Hunter is Isaiah Johnson. Isaiah Johnson is a two-way player, both offensive line and defensive line at Christ Church Academy here in Jacksonville. That's the same school that my son goes to. I had the opportunity to catch up with Isaiah earlier on, thanks to my buddy Travis Hodge, who is the defensive coordinator at Christ Church Academy. And I talked to Isaiah about his interaction with Travis, how the interaction came about, what's the last 24 hours been like, knowing that video has been viewed well over 3 million times on different social media platforms. And what, if anything, did Travis Hunter say to Isaiah after their camera interaction? So here's Isaiah Johnson of Christ Church Academy, the young man that was in the viral video with Travis Hunter this past weekend.
Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, your home for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we are glad you are with us. Odds are, if you were on social media yesterday, you saw a video involving Travis Hunter just casually walking in a Jacksonville neighborhood, coming up on a young man doing a football workout. And Travis Hunter goes up to greet the young man. And that young man is Isaiah Johnson of Christ Church Academy. And Isaiah joins us tonight here on Hacker After Dark. Isaiah, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
So, all right, you're working out on Monday, Memorial Day, in your backyard. And all of a sudden, the Heisman Trophy winner, number 2 overall pick in the draft, Travis Hunter, just comes up and says, "What's up?" How did all that go down for you?
Yeah, so I was just working. At first, I saw the group of people, but I didn't realize, like, who they were, because it was just people, and they walk through there all the time, like, with their dogs, just walking around to visit the lake and all that. So when I got done, I turned around, he was like, "What's up, bro?" And it, like, threw me off, because I would never think I was going to be just in my backyard, you know?
No, that's cool, man. And look, that thing's been viewed like well over 1 million times. I mean, when you see Travis Hunter, and obviously you saw the reaction on social media, and you see your face all over the place, I mean, what's this been like for you the last 24 hours or so?
It's been crazy. My phone been blowing up crazy. All my friends text me, people I haven't heard from in a minute text me. It's a lot.
Obviously, you knew exactly who Travis Hunter was. Are you a fan of his? And if so, what do you like about him?
Yes, sir. I like him a lot because we both play both sides of the ball, and I think that's something I can relate to.
Isaiah Johnson of Christ Church Academy. He was the young man that was greeted by Travis Hunter in that video yesterday that went viral. And what does that say about Travis Hunter? I mean, here's a guy that just got married, by the way. He's getting ready for Jaguar OTAs this week. He's back in town. He sees you working out, wants to come say what's up. I mean, that must have made you feel absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was great. It made me realize that like everybody's human, and that you can meet somebody like that and they be just like us. Like, it's nothing like overly crazy about it.
Now, are you a Jaguar fan?
Yes, sir.
Crazy offseason, right? New head coach, new general manager, obviously Travis Hunter. And look, a guy like you that's in high school, a local athlete here in town, these are the kind of people like you that Jaguars need to bring back. I mean, the team's been fairly disappointing for a majority of your life, obviously. For you to still be a Jaguar fan, I mean, that says a lot about you. What have you thought about the offseason so far?
I mean, adding Travis Hunter, that should definitely help us a lot more. And with the head coach, I'm gonna see what he's gonna do, but hopefully it'll be good.
Now let's talk about you and Christ Church Academy. I was telling people on social media last night. My son Forrest goes there as well. A great football year for you guys last year. Your defensive coordinator Travis Hodge. I talked to him last night about you. He just raves about you. Talk about your game a little bit at Christ Church Academy.
I play right tackle, and I play pretty much the whole D-line because we play a 3-man front. So I'll usually play like to the strong side on the defense, and that's usually where I make all my plays.
And, playing both sides of the ball, you mentioned you do the same thing as Travis Hunter. What does that mean to you to play Iron Man football? That takes a lot of dedication.
Yes, sir. It just pushes me to work harder and be able to provide for my team and help them get to what they're going to.
How has the spring been going for you guys at Christ Church Academy?
Good. We just we played our spring game. We played Joshua Christian. We won 35-14, I believe.
And look, you guys made a deep run in the playoffs last year. I'm also buddies with Justin Sermon, your head coach over there. What's the outlook for you guys at Christ Church here in 2025?
Oh, yeah, we're going to be a great team for sure. We're going to state, and we're going to win everything. I promise you.
All right, Isaiah, leave us with this. When the cameras got turned off yesterday, did you and Travis Hunter get a chance to talk anymore? How did the conversation with him end?
Oh, yeah, it was cool. He asked me how I was doing, and he seen me working. He told me to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm going to end up where he's at. And even after when he left, he threw me a signed football. That was really cool.
That is cool. That's very awesome. All right, well, if you haven't seen the video, it's not hard to find. It's been viewed well over 1 million times. Travis Hunter meeting Isaiah Johnson yesterday in Isaiah's backyard when Isaiah was working out. Isaiah with Christ Church Academy football. Isaiah, thank you for taking time out. Best of luck this season, and we'll be talking soon, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
There you go, Isaiah Johnson of Christ Church Academy. Appreciate him joining us here on Hacker After Dark, and that's cool, man. I mean, that's Travis Hunter. Look, Travis Hunter, we expect him to be a fantastic player. I mean, that is the goal when you trade what the Jaguars traded to acquire a guy like Travis Hunter. But it's becoming very, very apparent very, very quickly the kind of guy that Travis Hunter is. I mean, just a good dude giving back to the community, doing things like that. And what a thrill for that young man and Isaiah Johnson there from Christ Church Academy. Denmark, how would you like that to be working out in your backyard and all of a sudden you see the Heisman Trophy winner come up to greet you? That must have been some experience.
Yeah, you're probably starstruck and you don't know what to say. And then after he leaves, you're probably like, man, I should have asked him this or done that. But that's cool, man. I mean, there's so many times we saw the airplane story a couple of years ago when he's sitting beside that lady. And now this, I mean, this is who he is.
There's no doubt that's who he is. And again, I'm a big Travis Hunter fan already. Figured I would be. It's kind of hard to root for a guy like that that's trying to do something that no one really in the NFL has done in a long, long time, and that's play both sides of the ball. Him being a Jaguar doesn't hurt either, but when you see stories like Denmark mentioned, the lady in the airplane that just raved about Travis Hunter, that was a great story. Now you see Travis interacting with a young man like Isaiah Johnson here locally from Christ Church Academy. It becomes very easy to root for Travis Hunter, and again, we certainly appreciate Isaiah taking time out for us. All right, coming up here in the 9 o'clock hour on Hacker After Dark, it's AFC North week. We will begin our AFC North previews. We will make stops in Cleveland, in Cincinnati, and in Baltimore. Tonight, it's all about the Pittsburgh Steelers. My guy up in Pittsburgh is Ray Fittipaldo of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. He joins me at the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour. Aaron Rodgers watch. What's the offseason been like so far in Pittsburgh? The arrival of DK Metcalf. We'll do all that with Ray Fittipaldo of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. That comes up in about 30 minutes or so. Coming up next, if you missed our conversation last week with Josh Pate, we're going to bring it to you again. I think he's one of the best to talk college football with. CBSSports.com, CBS Sports HQ. He had a sit-down with Billy Napier. He had a sit-down with Mike Norvell and Mario Cristobal. We're going to talk all about Florida, Florida State, Miami, and more. Josh Pate of CBS Sports joins me next here on a Tuesday night in Northeast Florida. Hacker After Dark rolls on till 10 o'clock right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
Well, dang, it's so hot. I'm sweating like a pig.
Cool off with 1010XL.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentists and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental with light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, 2 locations in Jacksonville.
Get this. Joey and me were supposed to go to this concert next week, right? But then something terrible happened. Joey was driving without a seatbelt. But he didn't wreck. No, he got pulled over. Now Joey has to pay for a seatbelt ticket instead of a concert ticket, and I have to go by myself. How lame is that? So Joey, if you're out there, you're an idiot. Wear your seatbelt or you'll get a ticket.
All across the country, cops are cracking down. Click it or ticket, day and night.
Funded by the Florida Department of Transportation.
Here's your 1010XL community calendar of local events and nonprofit groups helping people here at home.
You can help Micah's Place support domestic violence victims by playing in the Par for a Purpose golf tournament June 20th at the stunning Golf Club of Amelia Island. Register at micahsplace.org/golf.
City Rescue Mission provides life-changing support for the homeless. Find ways to get involved at crmjax.org.
If you could benefit from a grief and loss support group, call Haven Hospice at 279-1677.
You have healing power. Even writing a letter or volunteering can help heal a veteran. Find out more at healvets.org.
The Hometown for Heroes Home Buyers Program helps you get your down payment and closing costs paid. Call to learn more. 574-7180.
You can find out how to share your community event at 1010XL.com.
All right, gentlemen, we've trained for this. We've battled the elements. But if there's one thing we can't afford, it's letting the heat take us out before the big game.
But Coach, the AC at my house is busted. I barely got any sleep last night.
Well, Johnson, you should have called Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. They're the real MVPs. Now let's cue the cool music.
Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. The coolest cats in town.
Fish know where to hide. Captain Kevin knows how to find them.
That's a big one.
Listen for the Wing Power Fishing Forecast Show, brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss and Royal Pest Services.
Thursday nights at 6
on 1010XL AM.
Homeowners, storms don't wait, so why should you? Protect your home and your wallet with Universal Roof and Contracting. Save 15% on roof replacements and repairs now through May 31st. Financing is available with payments as low as $115. Call 855-ROOF-HELP for your free inspection. Universal Roof and Contracting. Protecting your home, building your trust. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com.
Has someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Cohen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI, domestic violence, and all criminal offenses. In your battle with the justice system, there's only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645. 354-5645.
Hey guys, Taylor Dahl here from Helmets and Heels, inviting you to join us live at the brand new Kia on Atlantic this Friday. From noon to 2, we're talking sports, cars, and a boatload of prizes. The first person to arrive in their own Kia during the live show wins a free set of tires. You could score club seats to a Jaguars game with a parking pass or a pair of tickets to see Live and Collective Soul at Daly's Place. Plus, giving away 2 free oil changes and 2 alignments. So join Helmets and Heels this Friday, noon to 2 at the new Kia on Atlantic.
Are your kids ready to play this summer? Come check out the Y. Summer is a time for kids to explore new things and expand the limits of their imagination. At the Y summer camps, every day is a new adventure. Kids can learn about STEM, arts and humanities, athletic sports, outdoor games, and more. Registration is now open, but space is limited and spots are filling up quickly. Learn more and find your adventure at fcymca.org. Search Summer Day Camp.
Cannonball!
Honey, someone's in our pool.
Oh, refreshing.
John, what are you doing?
Oh, hey, Dave. Seeing as how me and the guys at Clearwater Irrigation reinstalled your sprinklers after the pool contractor ripped it out, I thought you wouldn't mind if I took a quick dip.
But in a Jaguar print Speedo?
Yeah, Dave. My bad.
Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage, too. Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
When it comes to towing products, your safety is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The middle to end portion of May. Certainly a lot of people looking forward to college football. The preseason magazines will be out in a couple of weeks. We are inside of 2 months until SEC Media Days. There's a lot to get into, a lot of hype surrounding the 2025 season. And with that, let me bring in one of my favorites, Josh Pate, CBS Sports HQ. He's also the host of the Josh Pate College Football Show. And Josh is always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Josh, it's been a little while, man. How are you?
Yeah, I've been hanging out down in your neck of the woods, actually. Been to all three major programs down there, talked to all three head coaches. Been doing that all spring, man. Been all over the country. So this is a weird time of year. When I was a kid, I used to feel like, oh, this is like a wasteland. I got to wait forever for college football. And now that you do it for a living, you find out this is low-key the most valuable time of the year because you can get out on the road and sit down face-to-face with staff and talk to coaches. It's great. There are no games, but it's great.
No, I hear you, and you're exactly right. You've been very busy in our state. I know you were down talking to Mario Cristobal in Miami. You mentioned Florida State, but I primarily want to focus with you, Josh, on the Florida Gators. You've been very high on Florida on your program. I think you had them in your top 10 for post-spring rankings nationally, and you had to sit down with Billy Napier last week that I know a lot of Gator fans really enjoyed.
Yeah, look, the sit-down notwithstanding. So let's tackle this bit by bit. I am not someone who looks at a team in the preseason and says, first off, my word is gospel. You got to be really flexible on it. So I think highly of Florida right now. Reserve the right to change my mind. I don't think I will, but the follow-up to that is a lot of people look at schedule and they project how they think a team will do against their schedule, and then they rank them. I don't really do that. I don't believe in doing that. So I look at Florida, whether they're playing the toughest or easiest schedule in the country, and I just try and stack them up comparatively to other teams. And I feel very similarly about them as I do about Oklahoma. I'm not just, because a record was something last year, going to assume that record will be the way it is again this year. I think those are both really high-level potential teams. Now, they're high-variance teams, too, because of their schedule. But, Napier, I said this to you last year. I'm going to say it again this year. That guy takes a fair amount of criticism. Some of it deserved. That's completely fine. I'm not here to defend him. But what I will say is, when you sit down with them and when you're in their building, when you're talking to their staff, they're so resolute in the way they go about their business. Now, you can be resolute in doing things the wrong way. You can be confident and also be wrong. They're banking that they're right. But what I'm trying to say is the outside world probably thinks if you haven't gotten the results you want, there's a lot of confusion and, moving around of deck chairs on the Titanic. And that's just not the way it feels there at all. And I'm really interested with the way last year ended. That's probably the first real glaringly positive sign that many people around that program, including the fan base, has gotten that, oh, maybe this is the right way. Maybe Billy is on to something. So all that, of course, leads to this fall. And does it really spark this fall? His fate, obviously, is really kind of tied to DJ Lagway. That's not a bad guy to have your fate tied to. I know there was a lot of talk about him in spring and how much he was or wasn't participating. I had my mind put at ease about his availability come fall. And I know Napier's been kind of vocal about that in the latter portion of spring ball. But I just think it's such a high-level potential team. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch them because as much as, here's the one change. As much as people will talk about how tough Florida's schedule is, here's the one thing that I will say every team on Florida's schedule has to be aware of this year. They got to play Florida as well. Mm-hmm. So Georgia's got to play Florida. Texas has got to go to Florida, and that will not be easy. That's not some pencil-in W this year the way it may have seemed in the past.
Josh Pate, CBS Sports HQ with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. And I thought the offseason for Florida really started when they got those 4 linemen back, 2 on offense, 2 on defense, Josh. When Slaughter and Barber on offense, Banks and Sapp on defense returned. I mean, those are 4 guys that probably would have heard their name called in the NFL draft late last month. And the fact that all of those guys are back, in fact, 4/5 of the starting offensive line is back. You bring back a lot of the defense. You bring back a lot of the skill position. Trey Wilson is healthy. Look, I agree with you. I think Florida on paper, this is clearly Billy's best roster heading into a season.
Without question. So that's what they've built towards. And I think also, to get in the weeds a little bit, they've been very smart with the way they've tried to build their roster. They haven't, the way I put it on the show last night, as you and I are talking here on Monday, is they haven't leaned out over their skis. They haven't overly exposed themselves with the way they spend. They've been pretty smart. They've had a plan. They've stuck to it. They hadn't recruited a bunch of top 3 classes, but they've got top 10 caliber classes all throughout the roster. They've selectively done a good job in the portal, but they're really good also at making sure guys have gotten reps. There were a lot of young guys last year. They played. They just made it a point. Play them 1 series per half or per game. Make sure they've got reps because in this day and age, your 2 deep is littered with freshmen. You hope the front end guys are experienced, but you're going to have young guys littered throughout your 2 deep. That's the best in the country that's dealing with that. So I think they've done a really good job there, and then that's why I go back to the high-end potential. Of course, the one wild card with every team is injury, and it doesn't matter which lineman you bring back. If they get hurt, then you could get derailed, but we can't predict injury. So if we get a relatively clean season there, I agree with you. I don't think it's comparable. That's easily the best-looking team that he will have put on the field. Now you just got to go win with them.
Josh, I'm curious if you got into some of the freshmen. Dallas Wilson made a big impact in the spring. I know a lot of Gator fans are also very high on Vernell Brown, Nashawn Montgomery. How happy, how satisfied are the Florida coaching staff about these incoming freshmen?
They're really happy. I mean, they feel like they did a really good job. They feel like they hit on a lot of those kids. I worked out at the same time. A lot of those guys were working out the day I was there. So I saw, a lot of the work they're putting in that the public doesn't get to see. That's a very spirited group of guys, I'll put it that way. That is a group that has not come in sort of sheepishly and, settled into the corner and kept their mouth shut and just tried to learn the ways of the program. They've gone in there with the full intent on playing, which is the way you got to be wired in major college football. It's sort of a validation to see that behind the scenes at Florida. But also, I'll go back to what I just said. And Billy talked about this during the sit-down he did with us. Philosophically, you've got to plan on playing those guys, partly out of necessity, but even the ones you're not going to count on to start per se, you've got to have a plan to play them at some points during the season. Number one, to keep them engaged and to make sure they're developing. Number two, because you're going to need them probably this year, and if not this year, definitely next year. And that's if you're right. If you're right that you hit on them, you better have them ready to play in the next 12 to 24 months maximum.
Josh Pate, CBS Sports HQ. Josh, final Florida question. Look, it's tough to say. It's obviously the latter portion of May, so we got a long time to go still. But in your opinion, has Florida built this roster up enough to where they have the depth that, say, the upper-tier SEC teams do, whether that be a Georgia, an LSU, an Alabama, a Texas?
I think it's headed both ways. I don't think their depth is on par with the best of the best of the best yet. So I would put him at a B tier in terms of the depth. But the thing about the A tier is today's A tier would have been yesterday's B tier. You're just not 3 deep. No one is 3 deep anymore like Alabama used to be or like Georgia used to be. Ohio State last year. People's lasting memory of that team is them buzzsawing through the playoff. And you kind of remember them as this super team. Well, they lost 2 games in the regular season, and their offensive line got beat to death. And they relied on the portal to even survive there. So that's Ohio State. Like, that's one of the deepest teams. So, if I say Florida's not totally comparable to those teams, they're not off by much because there is no truly elite depth out there anymore. Therefore, it's easier to pull to within striking distance. And honestly, if you're worth your salt as a coaching staff, that's all you need to be. You don't need to be stacking your 2 deep up and looking at your top 44 versus Georgia's top 44. You just got to be competitive with them and then go beat them on game day. That's what the game is all about.
And that's where we are now. You're right, with the land of NIL and obviously the transfer portal. Josh, quickly, you were also in Tallahassee. They're coming off 2-10, just a disaster in 2024. Obviously, a lot of change on the staff, a lot of change on the roster, including a brand new quarterback in Castellanos. What's your opinion on Florida State as we head into the summer months?
Easily one of the biggest wild card question mark sort of unknown teams out there. I don't have a good feel for them. That's not because I didn't try. And it's not because I didn't go there and talk to as many people as I could. I just don't know that they really know yet. When you take the approach they take and be as portal reliant as they are, they have answers. Like all the questions, all the problems everyone points out, Mike would have an answer to all that. Mike's a really good dude, man. He's very hard to pull against. And so it's not that they don't have a plan, they're not working hard, they're not addressing it. It's just that people work hard all the time and lose 6 games in this sport. Good guys lose 7 games all the time in this sport. So those things alone are not guarantees of anything. And when you're trying to hit the reset button, half a decade plus or whatever he is into your tenure, it doesn't sit well when you make the kind of money he makes. And you can call that fair or unfair, whatever. It's reality, though. Lincoln Riley's dealing with the same thing or a version of it at USC. These people are not paying you what they're paying you to experiment. You go experiment at Toledo. You go experiment at Utah State. You better know what you're doing at Florida State. That's what you were at Memphis for. You do that stuff at Memphis. You come to Florida State, you better know how to recruit. You better know how to develop and retain. And I don't know. They could win at 9 games and win 4 games this year, and neither of those results would surprise me.
It'll be interesting to see how Gus Malzahn works up there. Josh, we got 60 seconds. You were down in Coral Gables as well. Leave us with your thought on Miami.
So weird coming off a double-digit win season, but still feeling like they left a ton on the table. But they did. And that's with the Cam Ward, but also the defensive side being terrible. And so they made a lot of defensive personnel moves. There's nowhere to go but up on that side of the ball. The question is, all right, what do you have with Carson Beck? He started to throw. Him and Lagway will both be fine, I think, for fall camp. But what are you getting out of that offense? Because that's one of the best offensive staffs and units in the country right now. If they can just be complementary in nature, they can compete for the ACC. They should be a playoff team. And as ironic as it seems, coming off a 10-win season, I still think that staff's got a lot to prove, and they know they've got a lot to prove.
Josh, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville about CBS Sports, CBS Sports HQ, your show, and if they missed the Billy Napier interview from last week, where they can find it.
Yeah, I appreciate it, by the way. I always love coming on with you, man. Even when my allergies aren't attacking me like they are now. Any of those sit-downs, any of the stuff, any of my shows, it's all Josh Pate's College Football Show. It's on the YouTube channel in its entirety. It's in the podcast feed in its entirety. So wherever you get your shows, you can find it there.
He's one of our favorites. Josh Pate does a terrific job. Again, he had sit-downs last week at Florida, Florida State, and Miami, including that sit-down with Billy Napier. And I strongly urge Gator fans to go check out that one-on-one interview. Josh, I know you're busy. Thank you for the time. We'll talk again soon, pal.
I appreciate it, man. Good to talk to you.
We live Jacksonville. We love Jacksonville. We are Jacksonville. Where do we begin? 1010XL.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Mayday, mayday, mayday.
Come in, Linda. Over.
We've got a sea of new vehicles and their price so low they're rocking the boat. Come check out our biggest selection of inventory with prices that don't break the bank and our wow ya experience that will ensure smooth sailing for your next car purchase. Plus, take advantage of our peace of mind warranties, transparent pricing to provide you with a peace of mind. You better beat the surge and head to the all-new Beaver Toyota or Chevrolet for the car buying experience you deserve.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
What? All the budget has to be used now? And we can use all the media buy?
Javier's marketing firm just got its dream funding.
Okay, ideas. Bobbleheads. No. T-shirt cannon. I seriously need some help here.
He needs to find marketing managers who are worth every dollar.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Sponsoring a job on Indeed gives it a visibility boost so you can hire faster. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Mike Lynch, PGA Golf Professional. Take it from me, if you're dealing with an orthopedic issue, talk to the doctors at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where you're treated like a pro.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where athletes are treated like pros. Thanks to all of you who have allowed us to be part of your recovery. Call us at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists if you ever have a need.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
If you missed it, get it on demand.
And you send those out on the line.
Find your 1010XL favorites where you find podcasts and at 1010XL.com. Channel 5, Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold and silver and diamonds from the public. Gold has recently hit an all-time high at almost $3,000 per ounce. Pay bills, buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold for cash and get top dollar or trade it in for a new piece and get even more value at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. Call 904-722-1111.
Instant Keys saves the day if you've lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call Instant Keys, 722-1111.
David here with Royal Pest Services. Man, don't let your yard be torn up by that heavy aeration machine this spring. Visit RoyalPestServices.com to learn more about our granular aeration. Broadcast throughout the tree and shrubs to break up that compacted soil. Visit RoyalPestServices.com.
It's not too late for a deep spring cleaning on your home. Give my friends at Zero Res a call. Mayhem. 3-room special starting at $149 plus the 4th room is free. Visit ZeroResJacksonville.com and tell them 1010XL sent you.
Zero Res.
When you need a mechanic you can trust, call Sam, Harry, or Joe at AA Automotive on Richard Street. From oil changes to complex engine repairs, AA Automotive promises expert service and honest pricing from a local family biz. AA Automotive on Richard Street.
If someone you love needs a pick-me-up, then it's time to get serious about it and send them a Kuhn floral arrangement. RJ here with 1010XL, and you'll be assured of a quality delivery. That's for sure. Log on and order online at KuhnFlowers.com.
Ackerman Cancer Center is celebrating a major milestone this month, treating their 3,000th patient with cutting-edge proton therapy. For excellence in cancer screening, diagnosis, and treatment, trust Ackerman Cancer Center. Learn more at AckermanCancerCenter.com.
This summer, get ready to rock like never before. The Jacksonville Rock Orchestra brings the thunder with an electrifying night of Led Zeppelin like you've never heard it. Live at the Florida Theater, June 4th. Cashmere, Whole Lotta Love, and Stairway to Heaven reimagined with the full power of a rock orchestra. Led Zeppelin, orchestra style, only in Jacksonville. Get your tickets before they're gone at floridatheater.com.
Mike Dempsey, and now's the time to get your roof hurricane ready with Apex Roofing and Contracting of Jacks Beach. Look, our rainy season is no joke, and if your roof's got damage, leaks, or it's just plain worn out, don't wait. Apex is local, dependable, and will show up on time using only premium materials with ironclad warranties. No shortcuts, no stress, just quality work you can trust. Skip the storm season scramble. Reach for the peak with Apex Roofing and Contracting in Jacks Beach or visit apexroofingfl.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. One division per week heading into the start of Jaguar training camp in July. This week, it's all about the AFC North. We will make stops in Baltimore. We will make stops in Cleveland, Cincinnati as well. Right now, it's all about the Pittsburgh Steelers coming off another playoff appearance. It's certainly been a pretty active offseason for Pittsburgh. And is their player acquisition done, or is there one more big one to come? Let's talk about all of it with our guy up in Pittsburgh, Ray Fittipaldo of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. He's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Ray, hope your offseason's going well, man. How are you?
Absolutely. It's going great. Thanks for having me on, Ryan.
Hey, always appreciate you, Ray. All right, we're going to talk a lot about what has transpired, but quickly rewinding the clock, it never ceases to amaze me that the Pittsburgh Steelers, as sure as the sun will rise, boy, they're going to be competitive in the month of December, and they're going to get into the playoffs, whether you think they are or not. Coming off of 2024, what was the thought on the team heading into the offseason?
Yeah, well, it was kind of the opposite of the way the 23 season ended. In 2023, they needed 3 consecutive wins at the end of the regular season to get into the playoffs. And they got there. They had a competitive game at Buffalo. They ended up losing. And then in 2024, they lose their final 5 games. And I think there's a lot more questions about the future now than, say, maybe there was a year ago. Obviously, the number one issue, you got to get a quarterback. You got to get that situation rectified. Whatever they do this season, it's just going to be a 1-year stopgap measure. But there's also the issue of the Steelers getting old defensively. Cam Hayward is 36 years old. T.J. Watt is going to turn 31 in October. He's due for a new contract. So there's a lot of issues with their football team, but obviously the big one is the quarterback situation.
Well, let's dive into that. Obviously, the quarterback situation, do we have clarity on that, or are we still awaiting an Aaron Rodgers decision?
Yeah, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be their quarterback in 2025, but he hasn't let the world know that yet. He's dealing with some personal problems, and I think he wants to make sure those are, okay before he moves on and commits to the Steelers. Now, if it's not Aaron Rodgers, they signed Mason Rudolph, who was with them from 2018 through 2023. Just a 2-year, $8 million contract. That's basically backup or number 3 money. But right now he's QB1. And they also have Skylar Thompson, who was with the Dolphins for a couple of years. And they drafted Will Howard in the 6th round. Now, around here, a lot of Ohio State fans, a lot of big Will Howard fans. So I'm sure people want to see him in training camp. I'm just not convinced the Steelers are going to give him a shot to be much more than a 2nd or 3rd quarterback this year.
Ray Fittipaldo of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, as our AFC North preview continues this week, talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers. It sounds to me, Ray, like they've put a lot of eggs in the Aaron Rodgers basket. I mean, if for whatever reason that does not come to fruition, are they prepared to go into the season with Mason Rudolph as the starting quarterback?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think there's many other options out there. I think Carson Wentz is still out there maybe, but is he better than Mason Rudolph at this point? I guess we could have a discussion about that. But the point is, there's not a lot of good options out there. All the good options were off the table 2 months ago with the start of free agency. So the Steelers like Mason Rudolph. He was the quarterback when they went on that 3-game winning streak at the end of the 2023 season. He played well in that playoff game in Buffalo, but they also let him walk in free agency after that season, and they went after Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, both of whom only lasted one season in Pittsburgh. Now, they tried to sign Justin Fields. Justin Fields got a more lucrative offer from the Jets. That's why the Steelers are in this situation. But, like as I mentioned at the top, Ryan, anything they do is just a one-year stopgap measure. I think all eyes are on the 2026 draft in Pittsburgh. It's a much better quarterback class, and the Steelers have a ton of draft capital to move up and go get a guy if that's their plan.
Something very, I guess, anti-Steelers that we've known them to do is make a big acquisition in the offseason. But, boy, they did this year in DK Metcalf. What was the reaction in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the fans thought it was well overdue. They were in on Brandon Ayuk up through late August, early September last year before he re-signed with the 49ers. So they've been trying to get that number one receiver for a while. George Pickens was a talent, but George Pickens really didn't have the makeup of a number one receiver. He wasn't a leader. He had a lot of issues on and off the field. And I think by trading him away to Dallas and now, committing all that money to DK Metcalf, they signed him to a 5-year contract. I think it was for over $30 million a year. They feel like they got themselves the complete package. And, number two receiver is still an issue for them. I think they're going to take a look at that, in the next couple of weeks before training camp starts. But at the very least, they believe they got a bona fide number one in DK Metcalf.
A couple of more for Ray Fittipaldo of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. We talk about the arrival of Metcalf. You mentioned George Pickens is gone. So is Najee Harris. I mean, when you think about this Steeler offense for the better part of the last 2-3 seasons, a lot of it was Najee Harris and George Pickens. Why is Najee Harris no longer in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, he wasn't explosive enough for them. He didn't generate a lot of big plays, and on top of that, he wasn't a good fit for Arthur Smith's offense. Arthur Smith, what he liked to do when he was in Tennessee and Atlanta, he liked to run the stretch, the outside zone, and Najee was more of a power back. He wasn't someone who was going to excel in the outside zone scheme. So they go out and get themselves Caleb Johnson in the 3rd round out of the University of Iowa. That's what Iowa ran. He's very adept at doing it. And they have Jaylen Warren, who's on a 1-year RFA tender making $5 million a year. They love Jaylen Warren. Jaylen Warren, I think, is one of the more underrated backs in the AFC. He could play on 1st and 2nd down, but where he really makes his money, he's a great receiver on 3rd down out of the backfield, and he's a great pass protector. So Warren's going to be their 3rd down back this year. I think eventually, once we get into October, November, I think you'll see Caleb Johnson getting the bulk of the work on 1st and 2nd down.
Obviously, when you think of the Pittsburgh Steelers, you think about the trenches, right? But the O-line and the D-line. Let's start with the O-line. How does the offensive line look heading into OTAs?
Well, they really addressed it in the 2023 and 2024 draft. So they really didn't do anything this offseason. They got Zach Frazier in the 2nd round last year. He was really good as a rookie. Troy Fautanu was their 1st-round pick last year. Unfortunately for them, he spent pretty much his entire rookie season on IR. So they got 2 really good building blocks there in Fautanu and Frazier. I think the linchpin, to be honest with you, is left tackle Broderick Jones. He was the 1st-round pick in 2023. He hasn't really played to that level yet. He's moving from right tackle to left tackle, which was his natural position at Georgia. And I think the hope is he settles in at left tackle and he becomes a better player. But through the first 2 seasons of his career, I'd say he's been average to slightly above average. They need him to play like a 1st-round pick if that offensive line is going to be really good.
Same question, Ray. Defense as a whole. Obviously, when you think of the Steelers, you think of the great defenses of the past. That's what they're known for. How does the defense look? I know Darius Slay was one of the big acquisitions.
Yeah. Yeah, Darius Lake comes on a 1-year deal for $10 million. He's going to start opposite Joey Porter. I think the strength of this defense is in the front seven. Cam Hayward, who I mentioned at the top, 36 years old, but he made first-team All-Pro at 35. That guy never seems to age. I think he's going to be really good if he can stay healthy. They still have T.J. Watt. They still have Alex Highsmith. And they added some pieces during the offseason. They spent their first-round pick on Derek Harmon out of Oregon. He's probably going to start right away. And they got Jack Sawyer in the 4th round. Now, they're pretty deep at outside linebacker, but I think this was a move where they could sort of limit the snaps of Highsmith and Watt, keep those guys fresh, and then you have Nick Herbig and Jack Sawyer, playing probably 15 or 20 snaps a game. So they're really strong in the front seven. They got some things to clean up in the back end at safety and cornerback, but every defense can't be perfect. I still think this is a top 12, top 15 type of a defense. I think the defense is the part of the team that's going to keep them in a lot of games this year.
You mentioned Jack Sawyer from Ohio State. I remember watching the draft, and when Pittsburgh drafted him, I told my buddy, I'm like, of course they did. I mean, Jack Sawyer just looks like a Pittsburgh Steeler, right? Does he not?
Yeah, and they didn't need him. I mentioned they got Watt, Highsmith, and Herbig. All those guys are under contract. TJ is going to be under contract. They got to get that done. And when you find a guy like that in the 4th round, the Steelers actually had like a 2nd or a 3rd round grade on him. So that was a situation where he was the highest rated player on their board. They're going to find a way to use him. And I think it's perfect. Like with TJ, maybe he signs another 3-year deal. Maybe Jack Sawyer is the eventual replacement for him, 3-4 years down the road. So at that point of the draft, too much value to pass up. That guy's going to compete and be an asset on special teams as well. So even though he's not going to start early in his career, he's still going to be an asset for the Steelers.
Final moments, Ray Fittipaldo of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette as our AFC North preview continues tonight, focusing on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ray, as we make the turn for home, I love everything about Mike Tomlin. I mean, the guy is going to be, in my opinion, in Canton, Ohio one day. He's done an absolutely terrific job. I cannot believe, quite frankly, that he gets the criticism that he does from Steeler fans. You cover him every day. What is your thought on Mike Tomlin entering 2025?
He's got a lot of job security. Last summer, he signed a 3-year contract extension, so he is tied to this team through the 2027 season. It was a $50 million contract, so he's making like $17 million a season. So there's no doubt that he's going to be the leader of this football team for years to come. He's got that kind of security, and to me, right now, you got to figure out long term. Yeah, they're going to go through this 25 season. They'll probably win 9 or 10 games. They could even win a game in the playoffs. But to me, the second half of Mike Tomlin's tenure will be defined by whether they get a quarterback in next year's draft. If they do, I think Tomlin can maybe have another run in him for a Super Bowl. But if they don't, they're going to be stuck in this pattern where it's Mitch Trubisky, it's Kenny Pickett, it's Russell Wilson, it's Justin Fields, it's Aaron Rodgers. No really long-term solutions. They need that long-term solution for Mike Tomlin to make another Super Bowl run.
Ray, I feel like we talk about the strength of the AFC North every year, and certainly you look at Baltimore and Cincinnati. Is there separation, though, a little bit between those two and maybe Pittsburgh and Cleveland now in that division?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would put Cleveland a distant 4th, just given their situation at quarterback. I think with Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, they're just so good at team building. They know how to manage the cap. I think they're going to be there every single year. And, Joe Burrow, like the strangest stat to me, since Joe Burrow came into the league, the Steelers have made the playoffs more than the Bengals, which doesn't sound right, but they just get off to terrible starts every single season, and then they have to scrap their way back into it. They almost got back into it last year. They just didn't have enough juice at the end of the season. So you figure one of these years, they're going to figure it out. They're going to make another Super Bowl run. It's just really, really tough if you're the Browns or you're the Steelers and you're looking up at Burrow and Jackson at the top of the division. That's a pretty tough hurdle to overcome.
Ray, final question. Memorial Day is now in the rearview mirror. We're approaching the month of June. When do they need to know from Aaron Rodgers? I mean, time is becoming a factor, is it not?
It is. They have a mandatory mini camp in mid-June. I think a lot of people are pointing toward that. But listen, back in March, I think at the owners' meetings, Mike Tomlin said training camp would be the drop-dead deadline. So, I think Aaron Rodgers is enough of a pro that if it does happen after minicamp, I think he would be able to get his receivers together, work with them in late June, early July so they can get on the same page. I don't think that'd be a huge issue. But obviously, the best thing that could happen is if he reports before minicamp, they start practicing together, and then they can, hopefully get on the same page and hit the ground running in training camp.
He's our guy when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers, Ray Fittipaldo of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Ray, appreciate the time. Enjoy the summer. We'll talk again soon, pal.
Anytime, Ryan. Thanks.
And thank you to Ray Fittipaldo of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark as our AFC North preview continues. One division per week leading up to the start of Jaguar training camp. We will make stops later on this week in Cleveland, in Cincinnati, and in Baltimore. Tonight, it was all about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Interesting offseason, maybe an even more interesting offseason to come once we get some clarity on the Aaron Rodgers situation. But again, thank you to Ray Fittipaldo of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette for joining us tonight. Certainly spent some time on that. As you can imagine, it was a lot of Jaguar talk tonight as well. With OTAs back, had the opportunity to catch up with Jaguar linebacker Devin Lloyd after OTA number 4 this morning. Really appreciate the Jaguars PR staff for helping us out there. So a lot of Jaguar talk tonight as well, like you always get right here on Hacker After Dark. Well, that will just about do it, man. It has been a very, very busy Tuesday evening coming off Memorial Day weekend. Really appreciate you guys hanging out with us here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. We have a ton of people to thank. Again, Ray Fittipaldo of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. He's our guy up in Pittsburgh. Always appreciate Ray taking time out for us. Isaiah Johnson, the young man from Christchurch Academy. If you were on social media at all yesterday or today, you probably saw Jaguar rookie Travis Hunter just kind of wander upon Isaiah working out in his backyard. Well, Isaiah joined us tonight here on Hacker After Dark to talk about that experience, getting to meet the Heisman Trophy winner and the Jaguar first-round pick. Really appreciate Isaiah over there at Christchurch Academy for joining me this evening here on Hacker After Dark. Thank you to Jared Bailey of the Sporting News for stopping by. I always appreciate talking NFL, Jaguars, and more with Jared Bailey of the Sporting News. You also heard from from current Jaguar linebacker Devin Lloyd. We'll see about the former status, obviously, as he's coming in now to the final year of his contract. The fifth-year option was not picked up. I will say this, though. Really enjoyed the conversation with Devin Lloyd earlier today. I thought he had some really good answers to a lot of, I won't say tough questions, but some questions that I know you wanted answers to. And I personally think this year is going to be a very good year for Devin Lloyd, with it being a contract year. Anthony Campanile did really good things with the Packer linebackers last year up in Green Bay. So we'll see what the future holds for Devin Lloyd, but appreciate him taking time out for us here tonight on Hacker After Dark. Now, we will be back tomorrow, again, both tomorrow and Thursday. I'm sitting in with Hayes Carline on the Frangie Show from 4 o'clock until 6 o'clock, and then I'll be right back here tomorrow night for Hacker After Dark, beginning at 8 p.m. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the hacker Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Tuesday evening with us right here on Hacker After Dark, on 1010XL, and on 92.5 FM. So for all of us here on HAD,